welcome everybody to another in our featured finals matches at the end of the year. Tonight we're just looking at the intermediate county final, and we're lucky to have here on our panel Eugene McCormick, who was the trainer of the winning team, Keenagh. And I remember, Eugene, at the time we were wishing you well. We didn't know you were going to have such a good week, as the fella says.
No, it was a great week. I suppose you're always nervous going into the games and that, you know what I mean. But the lads, we knew we had a good bit of work done. That was probably, you know, the foundation that held us up in the end. You know, so the lads put in a great hour. Maybe not a great hour, but definitely did a huge last, we'd say, 40 minutes. Yeah. So they carried it over the line.
I was in the dressing rooms at the end, Eugene. I was very impressed with your singing. You had one of those modern songs. I can't remember it now. I'll have to look at it. What was it called?
Well, it wasn't me that started the singing. It was probably coming from the World Cup. It was Zombie.
Yeah, I think it was.
It was a bar there.
No, I wouldn't be able to give a bar. It wasn't able to do with that. I'm hardly able to do it tonight.
To Eugene.
Right, lads. We'll have a look now at the match, and we'll pass some comments or whatever, and we can pause if needs be, or whatever the case be, if you want to go on longer, you know. So we start with the opening here anyway.
Yeah, we started well, Mick. You know, we probably left 2 scores behind us very, very early in this game. This is probably one of them. Darren Carberry, very awkward, just tailed off. It was a tight angle. It was, yeah.
You know, I don't know what happened there, lads, but I presume you know what happened there with the teams anyway. This is called a week.
Yeah. But,
how are you, Max? How are you?
Get ball in there. Yeah.
In possession early doors.
It's a great blend, Eugene, of age and youth there on the team. I was just noticing that. Yeah, there's a good balance there.
There's a lovely balance there. There's a lovely balance, and a couple of younger fellas come in there. You know, got 4 young fellas into the team. You know, just around the 17, 18 age group, and I think that really was the difference. You know, it just gave us something different.
Yeah,
you
the
know,
enthusiasm and the hunger there with those young lads. Like, they were flying. When they got into it, they were really flying.
Yeah. But as you see there, Sean Connollys probably started really strong in that. You know what I mean? And you know, Daniel Reynolds there was on fire between freeze and play, and we struggled early on. Now we did lose Shane Farr to an injury, and it had a big bearing on the game.
Yeah.
So it had, and when he was gone, we conceded something like 6 points, and when he came back, we scored 1-1.
Did he have to get stitches or something?
Chin injury. He got 7 stitches. No, he didn't have them during the match, in that they just bandaged him up, and he got 7 stitches there. You know, so.
I think he goes 6 points down, I think, there in the first half. You know, he only scored 2 points in the first 23. Were you concerned at that stage?
Well, of course you're concerned, because, you know, our strength was probably, you know, our forward line. You know what I mean? We have good forwards in that, and we just, in fairness, you have to give great credit to Sean Connollys, in fairness. You know what I mean? And they kept us at bay, and as you see there, they could have had a goal here. You know what I mean? And again, you know, our keeper brought off a great save there, and again, there's another play that they could have, you know, got a score, and that. So we were struggling at that stage, but I suppose the one thing that I talked to them maybe all week was to be able to hang in the games when it wasn't going well. Yeah. And in fairness, whether 6 points down is hanging in is good enough or not, but we hung tough, and then this happened.
Yeah, this is a vital time, wasn't it?
Vital time. Again.
Goalie did well.
Yeah, he made a great save, and young Josh Kelly then, he got the second rebound there then, as you can see.
Look at him, he kept his eye on that ball where it was coming back out. You know, a lot of lads might be going off doing their victory celebration, thinking it was a goal, but he stuck the shot like.
Yeah, no, and a great young footballer, lovely footballer, and along with Conrad began, and Gavin Ball and Josh Kelly there. You know, they're the younger crew, you know, that has kept it together as such.
Added to his account here.
Yeah, but it was vital to get that score, like it put you back within 4, you know, coming into the, I think we get another one.
Again, this is a great point. This is a lovely point. And again, we've worked on something like this, bring it in and loop around, and lovely strike here. Beautiful strike. Yeah, lovely strike with Darren Gavin. Lovely. And that's left 3 in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And having the deficit there.
Yeah. And plus we hadn't played well, Jimmy. I think that was the thing that we hadn't, I felt, we hadn't just excelled up to half time, and there was only kicking the ball. And then this happens, again we get, 3 chances to get this goal. Great save, great look. And this is the young fella, young Cormac McGann.
Yeah.
The way he sidestepped back in,
The composure there.
Yeah.
Didn't panic.
Hits the post. Our reactions were good. We were quicker. Again, that's his weaker foot. Darren Cabby's weaker foot, if he had it. But it's the step there that was the difference. And if you're teaching young fellas, it's all about agility. If you have that step to be off left and right.
The hunger they had there to get that ball again and not give up on the ball, like get back off the post. They're still going looking for it again, Was there Connollys were standing looking a little bit, but your boys weren't.
Was there something you said at half time, Eugene, as well? Or because I don't know whether they stepped up their game or whatever, but do you think there was anything you said to them, or was it you were stating the obvious, look, we could lose this, but we're well in there? Was there anything?
Well, I suppose when you're talking, you're not sure whether you're saying the right things or the wrong things. But the funny thing, what I'm just after saying to you in there, is that I felt we hadn't played well.
Right.
And we were only kicking the ball down. And I just looked for, I went round to the fellas, and I didn't look for any big percentages. I says, can everyone give it, 1 or 2% more? That's basically it. Just rise your game the smallest little bit. And getting that second goal early in the second half, but there was a different, we'd say, speed to us in the second half. I felt we were doing things a little quicker, doing them sharper. I was looking for the ball to be moved a little quicker. And when you carry the ball, especially a team that's well coached, as Sean Connollys, it was difficult to break them down. I felt we were taking one play too many. And then just when you started to move one touch football, just give and go, all of a sudden then we were moving them around the place. And in fairness to them, they were after looking at a massive shift. And I felt that that won't stay for the hour either. Very seldom it does, whatever team. That's not to say that there wasn't fit or anything. That wasn't the case. It's very hard to maintain a full hour of football, no matter what game it is. And I knew our time would come, and it did. And yet it was a ding-dong right to the finish.
And were the players disappointed? Did they feel they weren't playing at their best, or they knew what you were saying, or was it a case that...
Oh no, the players knew.
They knew.
Oh, they knew. They knew they hadn't, because we had probably played, our EA game probably in the semi-final against Drumlish. We played really, really well against. I wouldn't have expected to beat Drumlish by what we beat them that day. Do you know what I mean? And maybe they were a little off, and we were just on our game. And finals, to bring in a whole new meaning, to any, whether it's intermediate, senior or junior, to just bring their own dimension of what's going to happen on the day. And it took us probably a half an hour with a little bit of nerves, I'd say, because there was a good few younger fellas in that, and they were a little nervous, and I felt that when Shane Farr came back on, and he just brought a little bit of, experience to it, and we made a few changes at half time as well. Just brought in young Ollie Manson, which is only 17 years of age. His legs in him, and he started to run all over the place. And it's not that he scored anything, but he was creating space for other fellas, and all of a sudden then we took off in that second half to a certain degree.
Well, look, we'll carry on and see how it goes, even though we know how it goes.
Connollys have two big men there in the field too, Duggan and Doris, you know, they're big physical men, you know, big heavy fingers of the ball, and they would have done a lot of damage, but we managed to avoid it, I think, in the second half. You get better ball into their forwards and got them moving better. That's lovely one-touch football there, handing off.
It's just great football. This is what we're looking. This is Keenagh McGann had a great second half. You know, never giving up. That's a beautiful strike.
Yeah, you know, you 2 or 3 times to lose that ball, but didn't.
Yeah,
Kept that. That's what I really admire about.
Yeah.
That Steve never give up.
Yeah, we were coming on the ball. This is what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
Like that. There's our midfielder coming on the ball. Just little pop pass. And again, just back out to Keelan. This is a lovely strike off his right foot. You know,
Look, he had options as well. If he wanted to go himself, he had the options.
Yeah,
Lads were looking for the ball. You know?
Yeah, that goes into the lead, and this is Keelan again. Real composure here, real composure. So 2 solos on the right and kicking off the left. You know, absolutely lovely score. But he is a county player, you know, and he's a quality county player. You know, and again the agility. But you have to give great credit to Connollys. Great credit. Terrific.
You know, and storming through. Like,
you know,
he probably leaned in there a little bit. He wasn't that free. Probably.
Yeah. But I suppose it was nearly,
I don't know, foul there.
Keenan was the man back there tracking and that, you know what I mean? So
Duggan sort of, you know, bought the free.
he bought the free, yeah. But you would be disappointed if it wasn't given the far end either, you know what I mean?
And like if you give Daniel Reynolds any sort of a free, he's going to put them over. Like,
And this is Daniel here again, lovely composure. And again, this is back to Duggan again. And you get a lovely side step in, you know. So that was Connollys, you know, back up into the lead again.
Yes.
You know, after we working so hard to get back from 6 points down, and they went back again and took the lead.
To what extent can you influence the game? You know, you see a lot of managers, they're doing this and they're shouting and back and pull up and all this sort of stuff. To what extent does that make a difference? Does it make a difference?
Listen, it's like anything. It looks great when you win, and everyone thinks you have the magic touch, and you know nothing about it if you lose. You know what I mean? But the thing about it is, you're just trying to maybe get your little ideas across into fellas, because you would have talked prior to that. You know what I mean, about what you'd like to be done and that.
Yeah.
And again, you're just hoping that it comes through.
Yes.
And we had plenty of fellas just to take it on board and just see it out in the end. But look at this for a ball. It's a brilliant pass here from one brother to another. You know,
they're brothers. Yeah.
They're brothers. Lee Ross to John. Do you know what I mean?
It's just on Desi Reynolds there, Eugene. You know, he hadn't been playing with Connollys. He was away, and they brought him back and started him. Was that a risk, do you think, for McLinch to take? You know,
I suppose.
in hindsight.
Well, hindsight is a great thing. You know what I mean? But listen, Desi is a quality footballer. Absolutely, and you know, a lovely lad, and it was a risk for them. There was no doubt about a risk for them, and we felt that if we could have stayed with him, you know, early on, and just maybe not let him get possession of the ball, because that's where he does his damage. In fairness, Aidan Carberry was on him and he did a great job.
It's a lot of pressure on a player too, isn't it, coming into a setup that you might feel yourself that, well, am I doing another that, or is there pressure on me to perform, overperform, you know?
Well, of course there's pressure. There's huge pressure on any young fella making that, you know, it was across the world again, like, you know what I mean, to come back and play with his club, and it just shows you, we talk about what lads have the passion to play for their club, and to see Desi coming home was terrific, and that, you know what I mean. And we'd have sooner if he had stayed away, but listen, Desi is Desi, and we knew that he was full of quality and that, you know what I mean. But thank God now that we were able to see it through with Sean Connollys having the full team.
Exactly.
You know, so that pleases even more. But
because you would have been beaten by them, wouldn't you, in the first round in the round robin?
Beaten by 12 points.
Yeah.
Beaten
So some
by 12
turnaround there, you know.
Well, it's funny, after that we had a look at ourselves, and that Keenagh team has changed dramatically since that game. Because on that day, we have changed the team. We put the corner back into goals. We took our 3 half forwards and we put them in at 3 half backs. we brought a wing half forward and we brought her a corner forward out to wing half forward, and we brought her full back out to midfield. So I'm not saying, you know, that's kind of the madness of Eugene McCormick to a certain degree. Do you know what I mean? But I just looking at what we had, and I just felt we needed to do something in our half back line. And I think the way the modern game has gone in terms of a running game and stuff like that, and we had definitely them 3 half backs, and there were runners, and it worked for us. It worked really, really well for us. And sometimes you can make moves and they don't work. And as I said to you, you can, you know, be the worst man making the decision.
And saying that, often it'll give a player a new lease of life as well. Maybe two setting a rut in a corner back or whatever, and would love that opportunity to move forward and maybe get a chance at a different position.
Well, isn't it funny?
You know.
Yeah, and it's funny you should say that, because Aidan Cabry, who we talked about, Mark Desi, when I mentioned Aidan to Aidan, he had been playing wing half forward and was playing extremely well for us at wing half forward for us. So it was a massive risk to put him back into the half back line. But I said it to him, and he was mad for it. He was mad for it, and sometimes you they work and sometimes they don't. And Lee Ross came back from, we say, army duty from abroad, and he was the other wing half forward below in Ballymore that day beat us, and we put him in centre half back, and he had a terrific game in the final. He had a terrific game, and you see him back tracking and just and taking ball away from Sean Connollys lads, and just little things, and you know, as I said, sometimes the work, thank God the work for us that day, you know. So,
and I suppose with the 2 goals, Eugene, there was a little bit of luck in both of them as well, you know. Another day maybe the goalie had got that ball and cleared them on both occasions, but it spilled on both occasions, came out to your man, and you need that luck in a final too, don't you?
Any team that ever wins something, whether it's in the final or semi-final or somewhere back maybe in the group stages or something, they'll say, oh, that was the day we should have been beaten and gone out with it, and then they go on to win a championship. And to us, exactly, Jimmy, what you're saying, you know, the 2 goals had a stroke of luck to them. You know, we had 2 opportunities for the first goal, we had 3 opportunities for the second goal. Yeah. So, like, you know, we got 2 goals and we had 5 chances to do it. So that's that's where you're talking about. And Sean Connollys will probably feel a little bit hard done by, because their goalkeeper Brahoff, 2 great saves in them scenarios, and yet we got the goals. And
such a need, you need to run of the green.
Your goalie, we were talking earlier on the year about goalies coming out, Eugene. Your goalie didn't come out that much, did he?
No, Damien.
He's not that type.
No. Well, Damien actually played out the field for us, as I said to you earlier in the championship. He played wing half back and corner back for us.
Yes.
So he did. So that was his time for out the field. When he
right.
was in goals, he was in goals.
He was happy to stay there.
Yeah, and look at, you know, again, he didn't concede a goal. Do you know what I mean? In fairness, our backs were brilliant. I don't think they bear down on goals and had a 1-on-1 with him. He did bring off 1 good save, all right. There was no doubt about that. But we didn't allow them to have them opportunities, and probably is something, again, that's where we worked on the defence in trying to get numbers back, and night after night we do sessions, you know, with backs and forwards, and trying to block up the D, you know, and making sure there was no holes in there. Didn't always work, Mick, but look at their young fellas. There was a learning curve there for them. They hadn't won it in 40 years. Do you know what I mean? So there was, you know, the monkey's off the back to a certain degree now. Do you know what I mean? There was a bit of pressure with that 40 years hanging over them for a period of time. And you know, when you're trying to do that, I seen Boyle yesterday, you know, beaten again. They haven't won a county title, I think it was 1927.
95 years or 6 years.
Yeah. Is it 27 or 37? I could be wrong there.
Well, last year was 95 years, so it's 96 years.
Yeah, so that's, so you can see, that'd be a point both years. So they carried the 40 years, and, you know, to see the bonfires, as you says, coming back from Longford, and you know, the captain of the team 40 years ago gave a speech down in the hall that night. And you know, older fellas there, you know.
Well, somebody was telling me there was a few of them crying.
There was.
Because there was a huge amount of emotion.
There was a huge amount of emotion.
So Colin Murray, the counsellor, he was crying there on the pitch.
He was
very emotional.
And like, you know, these boys have, you know, worn the Keenagh jersey with pride, and they have, we'll say, you know, done so much work.
Yes.
And I have to say this, I only inherited them players in terms of coming into training and that. There was a huge amount of work done prior to that in terms of underage structure and stuff like that. And there's a couple of fellas like Enda McGann down there and James Rowan, and I'm sure I'm leaving out somebody that I don't know who trained all of the lads at particular times. But they came through under 13 sections and under 16 and under 18 and 4 young fellas there under 18. So you can see that the work was done prior to that. They didn't develop them skills on match day.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's where the key is. We talked about the county final, Connollys and Keenagh. They do the work at school levels, and it's so important. So important.
Very good. We'll move on here because I think we have another 12 minutes, have we? Oh no, 5 minutes. That's celebrations.
Then it was important for you, Eugene, to give these young lads the chance, like, and trust in them, and that matters. Whether they're 17 or 18, that didn't matter to you. Look at those lads. Other lads might give them their chance.
And that's the one thing we talked about the whole time. I say when you come down to training, you're looking to get that jersey. If you have the jersey from 1 to 15, you're a lucky person. And I would say to the rest of the lads, go after that jersey. And subs came on for us that day and did very well. And you can see here now, this is near the end of the game. And this is one of the young fellas that we're talking about. This is Connollys McGann, 17 years of age, brilliant footballer. Kicks it over the bar to bust 2 points up. And
safety. Well, reasonably.
You're never safe until the final whistle goes, of course. But the composure of the young fella, the skill of him, and just
Evan Tully coming pounding after you.
Yeah, Evan Tully, you would know Evan from a hurling. Again, we talked about hurling earlier on.
Played hurling with us. Sean Kenny played hurling with us.
And again, you're just getting back in numbers again here, and covering in that D. And if you look where the ball is turned over here, turned over in the D. And that's what we work night after night at that. And
it's very satisfying for you when you see that in the day.
It is, of course. It's hugely satisfying when you see work that you have done and fellas carry it out, and young fellas, and again here we are now, look, coming up the field again, breaking up the field and getting it as further away from the goals as we can, so and that's young Kelly, the Josh Kelly, right? Got a half block on it there, and the final whistle goes, and that's 40 years of
how was your feelings there, Eugene, on that final whistle? Were you relieved or?
Yeah, sure. Lucky, you're always relieved when the final whistle goes and you come out the right side of it. But you can see the excitement in it. It was. Oh, there's Enda McGann there, who's put in a huge amount of work there. Do you know what I mean? There was people watching this from far abroad and everything, and it's great for everybody in the community. The night we had out there in terms of the sports hall out there, and it was lovely. It was lovely, so it was, and it's just to see old men cry and reminisce and what it was. And
you're looking younger there, Eugene. You look like a young fella there. I don't know whether it's the wind blowing in your hair there, but you certainly look like a younger man there.
It is.
Maybe it was the wind gave you.
The wind, of course, No, look at it.
Just interested, Eugene, as you from it's not your club that you would have played for and everything else, and you've managed different clubs and that. Have you ever managed a team against your own club? Played against your own club?
I have, and it's hugely difficult. I was 3 years with Colin and each year we played Kerry each year, and my own son played for, and the household would be a very quiet household that morning, you know what I mean, and you had, I have 2 daughters and the wife, and of course they were all on the one side, which was absolutely the way it should be, you know what I mean, but I always wish them the best of luck when I was
you had a job to do, but you had to plot the downfall of your own son and your own club, that you played all your life, and that's tough, I'd say.
That, to me, in all the times I've had huge losses in York, the hardest thing ever to do was to play against your own club, and I found that very, very difficult to do, so I did, and because I would know that you walk out the front door of your house and you'll see Barry Afari. Barry just lives down the road from me there, and county player there, and Barry could buy in another gentleman and he'd wave at you, and he knows I'm planning something against you on Sunday. That is the heartache. But once you take on something, I can't let the group of players that I'm training, whatever group it is, you have to make sure you try to get in the shift with them and that, and leave them in a better place.
Keenagh anyway, for sure.
Can you tell me who's
Um,
your favourite player?
Would you be able to pick out a player now from the Keenagh team that, or two players that you thought played
Just
well?
looking at Keenagh again there, going forward, and a young lad that's come out of underage there and probably played in development squads with Longford and that, wouldn't have Eugene Keenagh again.
Oh, he would have.
And developing as a player, and like full of running, full of energy, full of hunger there, right to the final whistle coming forward there. Like that's what any club wants. And if you can bring, like you brought in 3 or 4 of them there, it's hard for a club to bring in 3 or 4 young lads like that in 1 year onto a senior team, and for you to do that, it was brilliant. But he was particularly impressed with there. And Shane Fargan, I know he was off for 20 minutes, but to play the first 10 minutes, get a serious injury like he did, and get treated, and come back on after 20 minutes and get back and have such an influence and win man of the match. That is a huge achievement for a lad. Out of the game for 20 minutes, back in and put in the man of the match performance. So those two for Keenagh would have really impressed me.
Eugene, it might be a bit unfair, but who would you have picked on the Connollys team? Who would have impressed you on the Connollys team?
Ronnie McGarry, number 7. I thought he was brilliant. And Dylan Lynch was very good, number 11. They were very good, along with Daniel Reynolds inside. And we were always aware of Desi. Do you know what I mean? And young McGarry is a brilliant footballer, very good footballer, along with Daniel Lynch and Daniel Reynolds. I said they were the 3 men that we had to tag that day. We really had to put fellas that was going to make sure that there weren't runners coming off the shoulder and stuff like that. But they caused us. Sean O'Sullivan did a great job in Darren Carberry. Darren Carberry scored 2-6 in the semi-final. He scored 2 points. Now Darren Carberry had an involvement in a good few scores all the same, but he held him down to 1 point from play. That's all. And I'd say if Sean Connollys had said, can we hold Darren Carberry from 1 point to play, we'll win it. And in fairness, that would be I think a sensible mindset in that. But then other fellas in Keenagh stood up, and we did say on the Friday night prior to that, to the final, we were talking about, because I knew Darren was going to be a target, and I was just saying, can we get more scores across the board? And we had 7 scores that day, which was great. And if you have 7 scores, it's hard to pin down them all. Do you know what I mean? So that was kind of where we were trying to come from. You're talking about the young fellas there. The captain of our team was Shane Doyle, who had represented Longford. You know what I mean? A great Keenagh man. He was on you're talking about bringing in young fellas. Shane Doyle was a sub, and we left him as a sub. Now he came on and he hurt his calf muscle and had to go off again. Rory Connor, who would have represented Longford. Do you know what I mean? And Rory got no game time that day. Do you know what I mean? And they were the hard decisions you had to make in terms of, do you bring in these 4 young fellas, or do you go for the experience? And it was trying to get that mix together, but you need legs to be able to cover ground now in today's modern game and that. Yeah. So that was part of it.
There's an interesting, Eugene, because you come in to Keenagh this year, right? Your job is to win a championship, right? So you either win it or you might get the sack and you might be gone. So you might just revert to type and not take a risk, not put in them young lads. Go with the old experienced lads to get the job done, because you have 1 year to do it. You know.
Yes.
So it's what I'm saying is, it's a big risk for you as a manager as well to put your faith in young lads. Your job is on the line, I suppose, if you don't succeed.
Well, I suppose I've been very lucky, Jimmy, because I would have known the couple of younger fellas, because I'm in the school in Ballymahan there, and a lot of them would have come in through the schools and that. You know what I mean? And the other side of it, I was with the development squads in Longford as well, so I seen them younger fellas coming through. And I also seen Shane Doyle and Rory. I had Rory on the under 21 panel with me in 2012, and so I know their capabilities. And yeah, that's Louis. That's Louis. Dan. It's great for Louis and that. You know what I mean? But just for them younger fellas to come in, I just felt there was, Keenagh had probably gone someplace before with these older fellas.
But your job as well on the block, to trust them,
Well, as anybody knows me, I'm not afraid to make decisions. I'm not afraid to make decisions, and it was great now for the young fellas and that, so mighty. You know, it's great.
Very good. Well, folks, that's the end of our second instalment, the intermediate Longford football final. So hope you enjoyed it, and we'll meet you again, see you again for the next match. Thanks very much.
That's great.
Right, so that's that one done. Are you prepared to do one more, lads? Yeah. And what I was thinking is just we do the 3 women's matches together, but I might give you a bit of time to look at them.
Well, I looked at Ireland Dramard and I looked at Ballymahan. I didn't see the Clondish Slashers.
Probably didn't send it to you. And you know, if you can have a look at them, and we might do them after the midterm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do the, you know, and just I tried to get a woman. I rang Sandra, who's the secretary of the LGFA, and I was talking to her about getting somebody, but she didn't get back to me. So I said, look, I'd go again with, you know. So we go on to that now. And the other thing was, what do you think? This is what I'm thinking of doing. Is rather than showing these now, I'm thinking of leaving till Christmas, and then the lead up to Christmas, either, you know, a few days before Christmas, I don't know what day Christmas is, you know, show the junior finals, and then the next few days maybe Stephen's Day intermediate, and then maybe New Year do, I don't know, is there...
No, it doesn't bother me one.
No, I know that, but in terms of interest, is it too far gone? Would people be happy, do you think, to look at it?
They might like to reflect and remember them again. They might,
You know, because it'd be the years going out. Or do you think it's better to put them out? Now, I won't be putting them out on Clubber. I'll be putting them out on the own, so it'll be free, you know. I don't think too many people tuned in to Clubber or paid for it anyway, that's for sure. You know. But what do you think about leaving it till Christmas or doing it now shortly?
You won't find Christmas anyway.
No, you won't. Yeah, it's probably just getting a balance there as well, Mick. You know what I mean? You know, I can see you don't want to lose too much interest. You know, you want to probably see the views in that. You know what I mean? To see who's viewing it and that, is it?
No, not particularly. Just it's really to maximise it. It doesn't, like, sometimes I put stuff out and there are very few people looking at it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the likes of this, I would imagine a lot of people in the parish will probably look at it, or look at some of it.
Yeah.
One thing I heard, like the first programme, it was too long. You know, it was over an hour. It was an hour and 10 minutes or something.
Yeah.
So this I'd be hoping to keep to less than a half an hour, 25 minutes.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And you know, if it's Christmas or whatever, what I'd hope to do is maybe go down and interview some of those men you were talking to, the 50-year-old men. Do you know what I mean? And add a little bit more interest to it.
And then you'll know how to go on in Leinster as well, and you might
Exactly,
add another little bit into it.
That's
as
true.
well,
That's right.
So it's not a completely off the wall idea to hold on to it till Christmas.
No.
Right.
No.
Okay, so look at we'll go to the next one then, and the senior match then.
The Eugene just done the intermediate. It's not easy to stay up there now, is it?
No, it's not. No, and that's a decision the club will have to make there now. You know what I mean? So
I have the choice.
I think so. I think they have. But just my own feeling like was that you know, they were have to wait 40 years to do it. If they don't go up, they'll
Well, you can decide to stay down.
Yeah, the club can. I can't.
Yes.
The club can decide. Ballyman had that opportunity.